So I have Z here. He was a client of mine. When did we work together?
Hello. I think maybe like the summer of last year.
Summer of last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And we worked pretty exclusively on day game. I'm pretty sure. And you did pretty well in my memory. I think you did really well. And then you're gonna obviously tell me what you just told me about how you found a girl. We'll work up to that. The end game, the result of your doing day game. But obviously, the goal of this is to let guys know a more
Right, right, right.
realistic, non-markety outlook on day game, the goods and the bads,
Right.
and what you struggled with and your results, your honest results, and then how hopefully my advice helped to guide you and help speed up the learning curve. So let's start with your background. When you came into this, how experienced were you? How many lays did you have? Did you consider yourself a pretty experienced guy? What's a rough estimation of like how you came in already, starting this?
When I came in, I was basically a beginner. I wouldn't even say like I knew exactly what I was doing. Like
Hmm.
I could score maybe like one out of like 50 girls that I talked to or something like
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Yeah. I did purchase a couple of courses from other places, but still.
Hmm.
Like,
Okay.
yeah.
And I mean, so how did my coaching or my day game course, how did that compare? I mean, honestly, with those other courses that you found.
I mean, yeah, a lot of it was treating a girl right and correctly.
Mm.
A lot of courses have a tendency to like lean a little bit towards I want to say like almost red pill,
Okay.
where they essentially say, hey, you should be doing this, you should be doing this, but you should ignore like whatever problems are coming up. But in your course, it's more like talking to like a normal human, like I kind of agree with that more than
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there is obviously like you have an achievement you're working towards. Like you do want to sleep with her or do you want to end up with her. So on a certain extent, it is like just a theory, but maybe sometimes when people are too caught up in that, they put the girl in that box as well, and then they make her just an object, completely. And
Right.
that's, it's not healthy, but it's also not really that effective, because you try to do a one size fits all kind of thing, like just do this, just have this mentality, but different girls are going to react to you in different ways, you know? So that's good to hear that. So okay, so a beginner, and you had tried other stuff. You had gone to other people in the industry, but then you settled with coaching with me, and then following my day game course. So what were your initial results? When you first started approaching, was it really hard? Did you see early success?
When I first started approaching, well, yeah, it was not that great. Maybe like one out of like 20 girls would give me like a positive result,
Yeah.
as in the date. But
Okay.
a lot of
Yeah.
these girls do have boyfriends because it is day game.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. You're just
But most
statistically gonna find a girl with a boyfriend. Yeah.
right. So most of the time it was girls with boyfriends, and like
Mhm.
one out of 20 would transfer into a date.
So, um, if you, what did you find is like the number of girls with boyfriends who were just, immediately disqualified? Was that like half of the girls you approached?
But that
More than
was
half?
more than like 90%. It was,
Really?
and yeah, it was
Yeah.
like insane. Like it could just be because I'm in the an urban area, but a lot of the
Mm,
girls here have boyfriends. Yes.
gotcha. And so, well, in one way you could see that as a failure, but it's kind of like, personally, I don't think you should go after girls with boyfriends, and that's something that we talked about. It's something you didn't want to do either. One time you did it by accident, but you didn't know, right? I remember that story. You hooked up with a girl like right after meeting her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you hooked
Yeah.
up with her, and but you found out after that, or no, we suspected she had a boyfriend, right? We weren't 100% sure.
Yeah, we basically she turned really cold after seeing a text message and started.
Oh. Yeah, that's right. She got a message on her phone and then started acting weird, which made me even go, yeah, probably a boyfriend, you know. Maybe started to feel guilty, but you didn't know, right? But we can technically it was still a success, but let's ignore the girls who have boyfriends. So you said like 9 out of 10 girls you'd approach probably had a boyfriend. Now, some of them you might be able to discard as maybe they're just saying that, you know, just to kind of like as a soft rejection. But, you know, not all of them are lying. So clearly there's a lot of girls who had boyfriends. So let's like not even count that. So, you know, of the 10 girls who were like, let's say there was 10 girls who were single and didn't give you that objection. How many of them in the beginning were you able to at least, what do you count as a success? Get their phone number or actually go on a date?
I count success as actually going on a date
Yeah.
because a lot of girls they can be nice and just give you a phone number,
Yep.
or afterwards they decide to change their minds and you don't
Yeah.
actually have a follow up to it. Or even during the texting part, you can actually screw that up and
Yep.
that doesn't lead to a date. So yeah.
Yeah, we went over that a lot. Texting, it's a very, very common issue with guys. That's why now with my course, I'm going to include my texting book, which wasn't actually released by the time I first released Meet Girls Everywhere, but now I'm going to put it in it because it's so important, texting, as you found out, where you can lose girls. So in the beginning, you kind of struggled. When did you start to see um, how soon did you start to see, you know what, I'm doing better? Like it's very clear I'm getting better results.
I think it was towards the end of the coaching session, and I definitely saw way more results after continuing like putting stuff the stuff that we talked about into action.
Oh, like
Because a lot of
yourself,
it,
post coaching, like by yourself, following up.
that's quite a while. I think like 2, 3 months afterwards was when I started seeing a lot of success. Um,
Okay.
like
Mhm.
way like more quantifiable. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? Yeah.
Hmm. So what do you think that was? Do you think it was just it takes time for this stuff to kind of sink into your brain and for you to really get it, or you just need enough experience where it actually makes sense and it goes from theory to practice?
I think it's a little bit of both, where
Hmm.
you need that confidence aspects. It's like, hey, I've been here. Hey, I've done this before, so I know exactly what I'm doing.
Hmm.
And it's also, uh, what was the other part that we said?
Um,
We said theory and
Yeah, you just either you need a lot of experience for things to make sense, or it just takes time for an idea that, you know, you understand it, but there's a difference between like understanding it conceptually and then understanding it like really, really getting it. You know,
right.
like
So there was a eureka moment when we were coaching where
yeah,
uh I just asked a girl and made up a line out of nowhere. It wasn't like pre-scripted anywhere. So
yeah.
yeah. So I think it's both. You need both the time and experience, but you also need to find like what works for you.
Hmm. Was that the I remember the blonde girl on the bench. I remember that was a big moment where you were like, really, that girl liked me? Because what you approached this really hot blonde and you sit down with her? I think she asked you to sit down, or you sat down, or were
Yeah, and
you nervous?
I screwed that one up after a little bit.
Yeah, what did she you were just talking normally, right? And then all of a sudden she just randomly asked you something like, "Do you like blondes?"
Actually, she asked me if I like big booty blonde
Big
girls.
booty blondes. That's right. Yeah, like she was really direct, right? And
Yeah.
and you kind of froze up when she asked that, right? You were a little bit knocked off, you know,
Yeah,
your balance because it was just kind of left field. Like we're having a normal conversation, then she just asks you, not does she like blondes, but big booty blondes, right? Which is very, very
right,
direct.
right.
And what did you say? You said I like cute girls, right? You said something kind of vague.
Yeah, I said I like cute girls,
Yeah,
and that wasn't even that bad. It was
it wasn't that
later,
bad.
yeah, it was later,
She followed up
where
with a second question.
yeah, she followed up with a, hey, I feel like I'm too, uh, or I'm fishing for compliments or something like that.
Yeah,
Somewhere along,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's right. And what did you and how did you respond?
I just remember I said to the other question that she asked before, and I was like, oh, yeah, a little bit. And
Uh-huh.
then she said that question right away, and I was like, "Oh shoot!" And she just shut down right after that. So that was pretty bad.
Right. So do you like big booty blondes? And you give kind of a vague answer, which kind of could be seen as charming, like, I'm not totally going to give you a yes now, kind of play with it. But then she followed it up and then she was very transparent and was like, I feel like I'm fishing for compliments here, which was like her almost like a plea for help. Like, hey, give me some validation, it's a good thing. And then I think you just froze. I think that's when you kind of got quiet
Yeah,
and
that was a lesson learned really hard.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like talk slower, listen first, and formulate a response. You can actually take your time talking to girls. You don't have to blurt out every answer that comes to your
yeah,
head. Yeah.
yeah. That's huge because that's a big part of having a real conversation with a real person, taking your time to actually consider like what she just said, because sometimes you're so stuck in your head, like, what do I say next? What do I say next? And the answer is right in front of you. And it's so simple. Like, do you like big booty blondes? Yeah, you're really hot. That could have been a perfectly valid response. But I remember that one stuck out to me a lot. And then the girl who you hooked up with after meeting her for like 30 minutes, that stood out to me. Um, but what was the eureka moment that you just talked about?
I met a girl in the park. I asked her for her number and dinner, and somewhere along the way, I felt like she was going to reject me. But then I just added one line, "Hey, I would love to get to know you."
That's
And
right.
yeah, and
Yes.
she changed her mind, and we went out on a date. So
So you could tell her energy was like, maybe, and you're like, yeah, I'd really like to get to know you. You showed sincere interest,
right,
and then her entire emotional vibe changed.
right.
Yeah. Okay. So that was a eureka moment to show you that expressing sincere interest in her, obviously you're trying to pick her up, right? You started with a compliment. So that's already established, and that's a necessary thing. I mean, you got to let her know why you're there. You're not there to make her your business partner, right? You're there to make her a different kind of partner. But at the same time, the best kind of seduction often involves creating a connection with that person. And you really wanted to get to know her, and you meant it. And it was really sincere. So, it was kind of like that. I taught you like the raw open, like the I'm going to show you my full emotions kind of thing.
Right. You told me to hold less back and stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Just, however interested you feel you are, let her know that. Like, hey, you're cute if she's cute, but if she's gorgeous, be like, wow, you are beautiful, and let that go. And it sounds like you not only applied that to the first thing you say to her, but even down the line, when you could tell she's kind of on the fence, like, hey, I'm going to put myself out there. But there's a big risk of getting rejected when you do that, right? Because you kind of,
Yes.
yeah, you wear your heart on your sleeve. But there was a there was a reward to that risk, it seems, right? Yeah.
Yeah, girls can definitely feel when you're genuine and when you're like bullshitting and faking stuff, and when
Yeah.
you're not confident and when you are. Like they probably have like a spidey sense telling them, "Hey, something is off here."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They can spell bullshit most of the time. And occasionally they'll give you a chance even when they smell the bullshit because they like you enough. But for the most part, you're not gonna have the highest levels of success um when you're clearly, I mean, you can be there for sex, which again was very clearly what you're trying to do, but there has to be also something there. Um so that was your eureka moment. And then, so since we started, how long was it until you met this girl who is she now you officially your girlfriend, or are you guys still in the dating phase?
I can't tell. I think we're
Oh,
still dating phase. We haven't had the girlfriend boyfriend talk, but she basically acts like like
yeah.
she's really possessive.
Yeah, okay. Okay. That's good. So we finished we did 12 weeks. So we finished in like when did we finish? in, was it
I don't remember at
October,
this point. I think
September?
I I thought we finished sometime in the fall.
Yeah,
Like,
it might have been August.
yeah, I think August, September-ish. I don't remember at this point.
Or maybe, yeah. So then you met her in October.
Yeah.
Okay. So you met her, just shortly after we'd finished, and you kind of got your day game uh workshop basically. Um and how did you meet her? Like what was the situation?
Oh, she was just walking down the street, and I just went up to her, told her she's absolutely gorgeous,
Yeah.
and it took her a little bit, but I got her number and we went on a date. So,
Okay. Good. And so were you just out and about during the day, or were you going out specifically to like talk to girls?
oh no, I was going out to specifically talk to girls. Yes.
It was one of your days, one of your scheduled days. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So how often did you find yourself having to schedule out those days? And then how often were you approaching girls just naturally as part of like your life?
So scheduling wise, I have about 2 to 3 days, depending on weather, per week that I go out. If it's bad weather, I probably don't go out. But if
Yeah.
it's nice weather, I'll head out. Approaching girls, if I see a pretty girl, even now I'll still approach them. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And so
yeah,
now you can do it. You don't have to do it on the days that you scheduled out. You just do that to obviously be more efficient. But like if you're going to get groceries or you're going to get a coffee, will you still be in that mode? Like, okay, hey, why not?
it takes a little bit of kicking myself in the ass, but yeah. Sometimes I still stumble up. I still like stagger my words every once in a while if I see a
Yeah.
very, very pretty girl.
Yeah.
But most of the time, I am fine. I can approach a girl like out of nowhere.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. So so how long do you think it took you to transition to where it's just a thing that I do rather than like, oh my God, this is a totally new thing that I have to add to my life. How long do you think that process took?
I think it took like a couple months.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like a couple months. It took quite a while because that initial like shock and reaction sometimes, uh, yeah, it hurts. Like
Yeah.
when you get rejected by a girl like poorly, holy shit, does it hurt. But there are also like the girls that are fucking super nice. Like even when they
Yeah.
have a boyfriend, they're like, "Thank you, like you just made my day." And like those are the days that I'm like, I can do more of this.
Yeah. Yeah. It gives you motivation, even the rejections, but the nice rejections. Those
The
those
nice rejections, yes. The bad ones when they just ignore me is like, eh. I was like, oh well, what?
yeah. Yeah.
That kind of hurts.
Right. But you'll remember the really nice, you're so sweet, you're so nice. I have a boyfriend, but you know what? Thank you so much. You made my day. Like when you get that, it totally erases the negatives, would you say?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
would say that. Like it feels nice to make somebody's day. It could just be me, but
No?
it
Yeah.
and it gives a confidence boost when they're like, you are amazing. Like I want to go out with you, but I have a boyfriend. I was like,
Wow.
well,
Yeah. Because you can tell they're sincere about it. They're not bullshitting you that if they really were single, you would totally have a shot with them.
yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, that was something I learned very early on. I remember I was on vacation in somewhere and I approached a girl. She was coming out of a library, I remember. And I complimented her ribbon on her hair or something. And she was like, "Oh, you're so sweet." And then I started talking to her, but she had a boyfriend. And she's like, "I'm sorry, I have a boyfriend, but you were so nice. And, this is so cool. Like, thank you for making you." She's like, "You didn't just make my day, you made my month." Like, she was like, made it like really clear. And I was like, wow. And I was just all smiles. And then I remember, because back in the day, I was writing on the forums. And I remember, I think, writing a message or having an idea of a post of like, hey guys, like you should be in this, of course, to get what you want out of it. But if you go in with the attitude that you want to make her day better, you're going to, I mean, if you want girls and you give them what they want, they're going to give you what you want in return, right? It's a pretty simple equation. Okay. So you kind of started from the beginner ish. Um, would you say you were naturally extroverted as a person, or do you think you're naturally more introverted? What would you say?
I'm naturally more introverted, but through like the self-growth, improvement books, I have become an ambivert.
Yep.
So more of an extroverted introvert at this point.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
I prefer this better, an introvert with social skills.
There you go. So
Yeah.
so it's less about your, innate predisposition or like what you were born with. And it's more about seeing it like a skill set, would you say? Is that a better way?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely. Dating is 100% skill. I don't believe it's inborn unless you somehow are born like Zeus or something, you know.
Yeah. 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 So after training yourself, you started to see a lot more results. Would you say you're happy with where you at right now, or do you feel like you have a lot more room to grow? I mean, how do you feel about your progress at this point?
I am happy because I do have a girl right now,
Yeah.
but I do still see myself improving.
Yeah.
Uh, like there's so much more to learn. Like I'm probably like a year and a half into this, but I feel like you could probably go like 20 years and still have shit to learn.
Of course. Yeah, definitely. So, so then you kind of had both experiences, both short-term things with girls, and then you've kind of have maybe a potential long-term thing. You haven't yet made it official with her, but it's definitely there. So you would say that day game is really good for meeting both girls for short-term and long-term things?
Yeah, depending
Yeah.
on what kind of girl you're looking for. But yeah, you could definitely find girls that are just looking to have fun and girls that are looking for something long term.
And would you say, did you meet girls any other way before we started doing day game? Like, did you try online dating? Did you try bars and clubs and friend groups? Like, what did you have experience with?
I had friend groups, I had meetups, I had online dating. I
Yeah.
had basically everything because I was kind of desperate.
Yeah. Okay. And would you say that day game kind of bumped up the quality of the girl that you were going after?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of girls that I've seen before that I would never have approached and I would never have even gotten to know. But after the day game course, yeah, I had a couple of girls that I went on dates. I'm just like, fuck, she is out of my league.
Yeah. Yeah.
But of
So
course, now I don't believe that anymore. I don't believe there is a league or anything like that. I think most people can get most people. So
there you go. There you go. So yeah, I mean that's awesome. So you kind of went from beginner, tried a bunch of things, then tried day game, found some success. Early on was a bit difficult, had some struggles. The rejections kind of hurt. You built up a tolerance to that pain, and then you improved your skills. Um, and now you're sounds like you're doing good. So what would you say was besides the treating girls like, they're human beings, right? And having a real conversation with them and expressing your feelings sincerely. Were there any other things that you felt like, you know what, that was really helpful that he taught me that, or that was really insightful and it changed to my approach? Was there anything you can think of?
um texting and like matching their energy. I used to just have only short texts and be like, whatever. Like, hey, we got a date set up, but sometimes girls will send you a very long text if they are a texter.
Hmm.
And you should match that energy with them. Don't just brush it off like, hey, we're gonna see each other in like 2 days. So it's okay if I send a short text or something like that. But yeah, definitely match the energy of what she's given off.
Okay, so you had a date scheduled with her, and then you're like, okay, I don't want to touch this and mess it up, but then she actually wants to talk more. And normally you would send a short message and kind of like, whatever, let me just leave it. And then you end up losing a girl. I think I can't quite, that sounds familiar. I can't remember the exact scenario,
It
but
was the flight attendant, if you remember that one.
the flight attendant. Oh, yeah, that's right. She was out of town and then she finally did come back. Was that the one who broke her leg? Who kept she kept
Yeah,
having,
yeah, that one.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, damn. Okay. I do have a good memory. And then she hit you up, but yeah, you have to maintain the rapport. So when you first meet her, you're building up a connection, rapport. But if, life gets in the way, logistics get in the way, schedules, you're gonna have to keep that relationship kind of warm. And if you don't match her texting, that's why I have to include my texting book with with this because it's super, super important. Because you can have a great impression with her, but life might intervene and you might not see her for a little bit. So texting definitely is super important when it comes to day game. But making that good first impression is the most important part because it's the first part, obviously.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, sounds like you're doing really good. Um, texting, sincere expressions, and treating girls like people. Yeah. Okay. So I can't really think of anything else to ask you. I mean, this was here. Let me check my notes. See if there's anything. Results, biggest changes in your life. What were the difficulties? We kind of went over that. Background, what you liked about day game. I mean, have you seen any changes like in your general life? Like not just your dating life? Has anything kind of changed? Like has your work gotten better? I mean, I don't know. This is kind of a wild card question. But since you've been practicing this, has anything changed in your life?
Yeah, I have been a little bit more flirty, especially like even with the girls at the office. Like
Okay.
there are some hot girls in the office that like I wouldn't even like talk to before, but people are really open with their sexual side when you have like that sexual side to you too.
When you had that
Like
vibe. Yeah.
yeah, like I had like well, okay, she's like Romanian and she's like 40 some year old, but
Uh-huh.
she was like making sex jokes in front of me and like she would like pretend like she's sucking a dick and I was like this is work.
Right. You would get sent to HR if you were doing this kind of shit just out of the blue. But
Exactly.
yeah, but she was just letting it fly. And
Yeah.
and these girls weren't treating you that way, a year ago, year and a half ago. You feel like there was a shift?
Yeah, no, they used to just keep everything like business like and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
So
big.
you unlocked a part of yourself because it was always there. You just kind of let the dog out, so to speak.
Yeah, it was it had a lot of like unlearning,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, there's a lot of like societal like norms that you can kind of break a little bit as long as you
Mhm.
don't get too out of hand with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a lot of stuff that I had to unlearn. Yes.
Cool. I like it. Well, you know, if you're watching this and you feel like you can resonate with what he said about the challenges and kind of starting from the beginning and making it to the top, I mean, it sounds like he's doing really good, but you have a lot more room to grow and you want to keep learning. And hopefully I had an impact on that and I helped. So if you feel like you resonate with what Z is saying, but I don't think I introduced you, but yeah, Z, this is Z.
You did. You did.
um, Kind of just jumped into it, but yeah. Um, then hopefully my day game course is going to teach you what I taught him. I'm expanding on the course now. I'm taking what a lot of my clients have, um, what they've struggled with, what they felt like they needed more explanations about, things that maybe I left out. And so guys like Z and my other clients that you might see some testimonials of, if you're watching this on the page, uh, you're going to see a lot of additions and changes to the course that hopefully flesh it out and can help you how I helped him. And so hopefully you see the positives of day game and all the advantages of it. And, you accept the negative parts, but you're willing to work through them and then eventually end up with the positives like he's doing and having girls at work, uh, you know, pretending to suck dick and girls liking him and girls way out of his league or he thought were out of his league, but now he understands there really isn't a league and it's just a skill issue. And now he has a girl that potentially could become a girlfriend, or maybe he's going to stay on the market and keep adventuring. Who knows? But if you want that dating freedom, then day game is the way to go. And hopefully you can find that with my course, Meet Girls Everywhere. So thank you, Z, for jumping in on this call and giving some testimonials for some guys to hopefully follow the footsteps of where you walked and found some success. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Alrighty. So I'm gonna end it here. Let's see. Let me just end it here. Awkward ending. Thanks guys for watching. Bye my shit. Okay, bye.